The weight of a whisper. Myles sat hunched over his laptop, the glow illuminating his face as lo-fi beats trickled from his headphones. The room was a comfortable mess of clothes, books, and game controllers. Outside, the city hummed its usual nighttime tune. For Myles, it was just another Tuesday, a quiet island in the middle of a noisy week. He scrolled, half watching a video, completely unaware that his quiet island was about to be hit by a tidal wave. It started not with a bang, but with a hum, a low frequency that vibrated behind his eyes, drowning out the music. The screen in front of him dissolved into a blinding white light. He ripped the headphones off. The hum grew into a roar, a whirlwind of images and sounds flooding his mind, a desert sun beating down on a crowd of people, the creak of a wooden ship on a vast, dark ocean, the clang of a hammer on steel in a strange city, faces filled with sorrow and confusion. Downstairs, his father, Paul, was in his worn armchair, glaring at a basketball game on the TV. The remote was in his hand, but his mind was elsewhere, chewing on bills and work and the general state of things. He took a long, slow sip of his tea, the picture of a man determined to find peace in his own living room, no matter how loud the world got. Myles stumbled down the stairs, tripping on the last step and catching himself on the wall. He was pale, breathing hard. "Dad," he gasped, his voice raspy. Paul looked over, his annoyance at the interruption written all over his face. "What, boy? You see a ghost in your little internet box?" "It was. I saw." Myles struggled for words. "I saw us, all of us, scattered." Paul put his mug down with a loud clink. "Scattered? What are you talking about? You been smoking that stuff your cousin sells? I told you about that." He pointed a stern finger at Myles. "Don't bring that foolishness in my house." Myles shook his head, his eyes unfocused, looking at something far beyond the living room wall. A voice that was his but not his began to speak, low and steady. "And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." Paul froze, his fingers still in the air. The words hung in the space between them, ancient and heavy. He knew those words. He'd heard them from his own grandfather, read them in the heavy family Bible that sat on the mantelpiece. He slowly lowered his hand, the skepticism on his face melting away, replaced by a stunned, wary curiosity. "Deuteronomy," he whispered, "chapter 28. The trance broke. Myles blinked, swaying on his feet as if the weight of the words had physically exhausted him. "Dad, I didn't." "I don't know how I knew that." Paul stood up and walked over to his son, his movements slow, deliberate. He didn't touch him, but stood close, studying his face. "I know you don't, son. That's what's got me worried." Just as the silence settled, Myles's eyes widened again, but this time it wasn't with terror. It was with awe. The vision returned, not of pain, but of purpose. He saw streams in the desert, a highway through the wilderness, people returning from the north, the south, the east, and the west. "He will raise a banner for the nations," Myles said, his voice clear and strong, "and gather the exiles of Israel. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from the four quarters of the earth." Paul looked at his son, truly looked at him, and saw not a boy messing with things he shouldn't, but a young man touched by something immense and terrifying and beautiful. He finally closed the distance and put a heavy, grounding hand on Myles's shoulder. The game on the TV was long forgotten. The world outside could keep its noise. In this room, something new had been born. "All right, son," Paul said, his voice thick with emotion. "All right, let's talk."